Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. What if the person everyone trusted the most didn't even exist? So, here's where things get seriously intense. Dylan, the talented, almost perfect new addition to the team, turns out to be hiding something massive. Wyatt senses it first, follows that instinct, and what he uncovers, it's not just a secret, it's a completely different identity. And when the truth finally explodes in front of everyone, it doesn't just expose one person, it shakes trust, loyalty, and every relationship in the room. Alright, let's really unpack this because this story builds slowly and then hits all at once. From the very beginning, Dylan seemed almost too good to be true. You know, those people who walk into a room and somehow instantly earn respect. That was Dylan, smart, observant, always saying the right thing at the right time. In design meetings, he wasn't just participating, he was embracing people, offering insights that felt sharp, thoughtful, and honestly beyond what anyone expected from someone so new. Brooke noticed it right away. She appreciated how respectful Dylan was, how easy it was to work with him. Rich, he admired the dedication, the work ethic, the way Dylan seemed to take everything seriously. Even Steffi, who is not enough for trusting newcomers easily, had to admit there was something interesting about his perspective. On the surface, everything looked perfect, but not everyone was convinced. Because Wyatt Spencer, he was watching. At first, it wasn't anything concrete, just a feeling. That little voice in your head that says something's off, even when you can't explain why. And Wyatt, he's the kind of a person who trusts that instinct. The more he observed Dylan, the more things didn't quite line up. The behavior felt a little too controlled, like every reaction was carefully measured. Conversations about the past were always vague, never detailed enough to feel real. And then there were the small things, the things most people wouldn't even notice. Dylan avoided personal conversations, hesitated when asked simple questions about family or upbringing, and sometimes just for a split second, there was this flicker in his eyes. Uneasiness, like something underneath the surface was trying not to come out. We had tried to ignore it. It really did, because let's be honest, everyone has secrets. Not everything needs to be exposed, but then one night, everything changed. Wyatt was walking past a private office late in the evening when he heard something, a voice, Dylan's voice, but different, softer, emotional in a way he had never heard before. I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I just need more time. That moment, it stopped Wyatt cold. Because that wasn't just secrecy anymore. That was fear. Real, raw fear. And from that point on, Wyatt couldn't let it go. He started digging, quietly, carefully, making sure no one noticed. At first, everything seemed legitimate. The records checked out, references looked clean, on paper, Dylan was exactly who he claimed to be. But the deeper Wyatt went, the more cracks started to appear. Dates that didn't match up, a university that had no record of Dylan attending, a previous job that, when looked into properly, didn't even exist. It was like Dylan had been constructed piece by piece, like a character, not a person. And that realization, it consumed Wyatt. He brought it up to Liam, hoping for backup. But Liam wasn't convinced. He brushed it off, saying maybe Dylan just valued privacy. That's not everything suspicious meant something bad. But Wyatt, he wasn't buying it. This wasn't privacy. This was a lie. And he knew. If it came out, it would explode. And then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, Wyatt followed Dylan, not aggressively, not recklessly, just enough to see where he would go, and even that felt telling. Dylan kept looking over his shoulder, like he knew something wasn't right. Eventually, they ended up at a quiet apartment building outside the city. And what Wyatt saw next, it changed everything, from outside through a partially open window. Wyatt attached, watched as Dylan entered, and then started to change. And suddenly everything shifted. The posture relaxed, the tension disappeared, the guarded energy gone. And then Dylan reached up and removed the wig. and Wyatt's heart just started racing because standing there wasn't Dylan. It was a woman, completely different yet unmistakably the same person, long dark hair falling freely, her face no longer hidden behind that carefully constructed identity. And what stood out the most, she didn't look dangerous. She looked tired, vulnerable, like someone who had been carrying a weight for far too long. We had stumbled back, completely shaken, because yes, his instincts were right, but the truth, it was deeper than he ever imagined. Dylan wasn't hiding something. Dylan wasn't even real. For the next few days, Wyatt couldn't stop thinking about it. He wrestled with what to do because this wasn't just about exposing a lie anymore. It was about understanding it. Who was she? Why go through all of this? What was she really after? But there was something that held him back from confronting her immediately. That moment he saw her, there was pain in her eyes, not manipulation, not calculation, desperation. Is still a secret like this? It doesn't stay hidden forever. And sure enough, the truth came out sooner than expected. During a high pressure meeting at Forrester Creations, tensions were already running high. People were arguing over a major design decision, voices clashing, opinions colliding. And then Dylan spoke up, challenging Rich, offering a different idea. And Rich snapped, told him to stay in his place, that he didn't have the right to change things. The room went silent. You could feel the tension, and that's when Wyatt stepped forward. No, he doesn't. Everyone turned to him confused, and then he stated, "He's not who you think he is." The room shifted instantly. He could feel the confusion, the disbelief. Brooke questioned him, asked what he meant, and Wyatt, he took a breath and went all in. Dylan isn't real. And just like that, everything shattered. Dylan's face went pale. Panic flickered in those eyes Wyatt had been studying for so long. She whispered for him to stop, but it was too late. Wyatt revealed it all. "She's been lying to us. Dylan is a woman." And the room exploded. Shock, denial, anger. Steffi couldn't believe it. Reese refused to accept it, but Wyatt stood firm because he had seen it. And then all eyes turned to Dylan, or rather to be truth waiting to come out. Slowly, with shaking hands, she reached up and removed the disguise, the wig, the illusion, the identity, gone. And standing there was a woman, exposed, scared, completely vulnerable. "My name isn't Dylan, it's Delilah." And the silence that followed, it was heavy, almost unbearable. Brooke, softer than the others, asked the question everyone was thinking. Why? And Delilah, she didn't hide anymore. She told them everything about growing up in a world where talent wasn't enough, where opportunities were limited, where rejection came again and again, not because he wasn't good enough, but because doors simply wouldn't open for her. So she created one, Dylan, a name that could go where she couldn't, a version of herself that could finally be seen. At first, it was supposed to be temporary, just one chance, one opportunity, but then it became more. She started to care about the work, about the people, and through tears, she said the one thing that hit hardest. She never meant to hurt anyone. And that's where everything gets complicated because the reactions, they weren't the same. Steffi was furious, felt completely betrayed, questioned how they could ever trust her again. Reese was torn, angry at the deception, but clearly recognizing the talent. Brooke saw something different. She saw courage. She saw what Delilah had risked just to be there. And she asked the question that shifted everything. The work, was it real? And Delilah said yes. Every design, every idea. That was her. We had stood there watching it all unfold, and you could see it on his face. This wasn't a victory. It didn't feel good, because now he had to ask himself, did he do the right thing? He told her quietly he didn't want to destroy her. He just needed the truth. And the look she gave him, it wasn't anger, it was understanding, mixed with pain. The consequences came immediately. Delilah was suspended while the company investigated everything. Rules have been broken. That couldn't be ignored. But the story didn't end there because the truth changed everything. In the days what followed, Conversation shifted, people started questioning things they never had before. It wasn't just about deception anymore. It became something deeper about identity, about opportunity, about how far someone will go just to be seen. Steppy struggled with the betrayal, Rich wrestled with his principles, Brooke kept pushing for compassion, and Wyatt, he couldn't stop thinking about Delilah, about how hard it must have been to live that double life, and how lonely she must have felt, about that moment when she stood there with nothing left to hide. And one question stayed in everyone's mind: was she a liar or just someone trying to survive? Because one thing was clear: the truth had come out, but the real drama, it was only just beginning. This moment is powerful because it goes away beyond a simple reveal. It challenges everything: trust, identity, fairness. Weird didn't just expose a secret, it disrupted the emotional balance of everyone involved. And the biggest issue here is that both sides are right in their own way. Delilah lied, yes, but she also proved her worth. And we are told the truth, but that truth caused real damage. That tension is what makes this situation so explosive. Honestly, this was one of those situations where there no easy answer. I understand why Wyatt did what he did. Living with that kind of secret would eat anyone alive. But at the same time, I can't ignore what Delilah went through. Imagine being so talented yet constantly shut out, to the point where you have to create a whole new identity just to be given a chance. That's not just deception, that's desperation. And I think that's what makes this is so emotional. So now everything is up in the air. Will Delilah get another chance, or has the damage already been done? Will the truth bring understanding or just push everyone further apart? And here's what I want to ask you: was Wyatt right to expose her like that in front of everyone, or should he have handled it differently? And what about Delilah? Do you see her as someone who lied, or someone who fought for a chance she never had? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you are into stories like this, deep, emotional, and full of twists, don't forget to like and subscribe, because trust me, the story is far from over.